And as you know, Laxman is going to defend his dissertation today. Just a little bit about Laxman. He has a Bachelor of Veterinary Science in Animal Husbandry that he got from Bombay Veterinary College in India. He has a Master of Veterinary Science and Veterinary Public Health, also from a Veterinary and Animal Science University in India. He's been here since August of 2015, and I think he joined my lab late in 2015. And he has was an integral part of getting the lab up and going. And he and another student, Fuad, were basically lockstep together, and were doing projects that were a little too intensive for one person. So they made a lot of advancement in the last 5 years, 4.5, 5 years. And Laxman is going to tell us about type 1 nuclear hormone receptors and Krupel-like transcription factors that synergistically activate bovine herpes virus regulatory promoters and productive infection.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. So thank you everyone for coming to attend my seminar. I know it's kind of difficult situation outside, but I really appreciate you came in person. So the topic of my seminar is type 1 nuclear hormone receptor and Krupel-like transcription factors synergistically activates the bovine herpes virus regulatory promoter and productive infection. So we are going to see about introduction. Bovine herpes virus is an important pathogen of cattle. Bovine herpes virus, along with different other causative agents like different viruses like bovine parainfluenza, bovine viral diarrhea, or different bacteria like Pasteurella multocida, they all come together and cause a disease complex called as bovine respiratory disease complex, also known as BRDC. This BRDC is very important because it alone causes around $3 billion loss in cattle industry every year in United States. And bovine herpes virus is known to initiate this BRDC either by causing immunosuppression, and because of that, the animal is susceptible for the secondary bacterial infection. Bovine herpes virus is present all across the globe, ranging from around 14% to that of 83%. Countries like Switzerland, Austria, and Denmark, they were able to eliminate the bovine herpes virus by serological testing and eliminating the infected animal. But in countries like USA, which is having large cattle population, the movement of cattle cannot be restricted, because of which the elimination of bovine herpes virus is difficult. Latency is a common feature of alpha herpes virus family. What happens is that whenever there is an infection, the virus enters into the epithelium, and via epithelium, it goes into the sensory neuron, and it establishes a latency in the trigeminal ganglia. So under certain condition, the virus can reactivate from latency. So we are going to see about latency reactivation cycle. First, there is acute infection, and because of acute infection, there is a high levels of infectious virus which is produced. After that, the virus undergoes establishment of latency. So during latency, what happens is that there is a suppression of viral gene expression. There is a suppression of the viral replication. And there is a specific gene called as LAT gene, it is expressed. It is also known as latency associated transcript. So after establishment of latency, the virus goes into next phase, that is a maintenance of latency. So during this maintenance of latency, the LAT gene is continuously expressed, and this phase can go from years to decade. So under certain condition like fever, stress, or immunosuppression, there can be reactivation of virus from latency. And during this reactivation, the LAT gene which is expressed, it is reduced, and there is a viral gene expression giving rise to infectious virus. So at this stage, virus can decide two things. One, it can go back to establish the latency, or there can be continuous shedding of virus through eye or genital tract. So what happens is that whenever the animals are transported from one area to another area because of lack of food, water, or sudden climatic change, the animal undergoes stress. Because of stress, there is an increase in corticosteroid inside the body. So because of corticosteroid increase, it activates the glucocorticoid receptor which is present inside the body. Now this glucocorticoid receptor is also known as pioneer transcription factor, meaning the bovine herpes virus, whenever it is in latency, the chromatin is silent. And because the glucocorticoid receptor is pioneer transcription factor, it is having capacity to bind to the silent chromatin, giving rise to the productive infection. And because of this reason, whenever the animal is latently infected, and if you give dexamethasone, you can always find bovine herpes virus gene products. So we are going to see about the signaling pathway, GR signaling pathway. So this is the classical GR signaling pathway in which the glucocorticoid receptor is present inside the cytoplasm during the inactive phase. It is linked to the heat shock protein. Whenever there is a corticosteroid or dexamethasone, it attaches to the glucocorticoid receptor and the glucocorticoid receptors get activated. So now what happens is that after the activation of glucocorticoid receptor, it forms a homodimer and it is translocated inside the nucleus and it binds to the specific sequence called as glucocorticoid response elements. Now these glucocorticoid response elements are 6 nucleotide palindromic sequences, meaning you can see over here there are 6 nucleotides which is separated by a spacer region, and because it is palindromic sequence, so you can see the exact opposite sequence is present on the other side, that is A to T, C to G and A to T. And notice the sequences in red, that is ACA and TGT. These are called as core elements of glucocorticoid response elements. So the glucocorticoid receptor forming a homodimer, there is a 2 glucocorticoid receptor, goes and attaches itself to this glucocorticoid response elements. So apart from this classical pathway, recent studies have shown that the glucocorticoid receptor can also activate via other means. Like first we have seen the simple GRE, that is a homodimer of glucocorticoid receptor binding and activating. Apart from that, it can also do via composite GRE, that is the glucocorticoid receptor is attached to some transcription factor and then this complex is bound to the DNA. Apart from this, the glucocorticoid receptor can act via indirect mechanism, like the glucocorticoid receptor is bound to some transcription factor and this transcription factor is bound to the DNA, or the glucocorticoid receptor is bound to some cofactor and this complex is driven by some transcription factor. Also, like I mentioned, there is a glucocorticoid response elements. So it is possible that apart from homodimer, a single monomer of glucocorticoid receptor can go and bind. It is also known as half-site binding. So now the glucocorticoid receptor belongs to a family called as type 1 nuclear hormone receptor. So in this family, there are other members like progesterone receptor, androgen receptor. These all members bind to the same DNA sequences like these glucocorticoid response elements. So in the context of bovine herpes virus, this is very important because bovine herpes virus itself is having more than 100 glucocorticoid response elements in its genome. And we know that the glucocorticoid receptor activates the reactivation of virus from latency. So in context with that of androgen receptor, there are certain studies which have shown the presence of virus inside the semen or into the preputial mucosa. So what happens is that if the animal, the bull is infected, it can transmit the virus via natural copulation or artificial insemination. Or in regards to progesterone receptor, we know that the progesterone receptor is highly expressed into the reproductive system. And bovine herpes virus specifically targets to the corpus luteum and the ovary. And we know that the progesterone hormone is required for the maintenance of pregnancy. So in context of bovine herpes virus is known to cause abortion in cattle which is latently infected if there is a reactivation of virus. So also one important point is that this all nuclear hormone receptor are expressed into the sensory neuron. Thus it gives that they may play a role in reactivation of virus from latency. So now I'm going to talk about productive infection. So during productive infection, the bovine herpes virus genes are expressed into 3 phases. That is immediate early, and late. Each are having its own promoter. That is immediate early is having its immediate early promoter. Early genes are controlled by early promoter and late genes are controlled by late promoter. So these are the positions where the immediate early promoter gives rise to two protein, BICP4 and BICP0, because this promoter is differentially spliced, giving rise to two different protein. Whereas the early promoter gives rise to a specific protein, that is a BICP0. So previously in our lab, it was shown that the immediate early promoter is having two glucocorticoid response element, and it is via these two glucocorticoid response element, this immediate early promoter can be activated in the presence of glucocorticoid receptor and dexamethasone. Also, in our lab, it was shown that whenever the animal is latently infected with bovine herpes virus, and if there is a corticosteroid given to the animal, there are certain cellular transcription factor which is RISE. It is also known as dex-inducible transcription factor. So this transcription factor belongs to a certain family called as Kruppel-like transcription factor. So from now on, I am going to refer to these factors as KLF family members. So these KLF family members are also known to stimulate certain viral promoters, and they can bind to GC and CA motif. And this is very intriguing because the bovine herpes virus genome itself is very GC rich. So based on these all studies of the past, we came to a main hypothesis, that is Kruppel-like transcription factor and type 1 nuclear hormone receptor can cooperate with each other to activate the viral regulatory promoters. So these are the two regulatory promoters which I am going to talk about. First is immediate early and next is early promoter. I am going to talk about immediate early promoter right now. So for this, the hypothesis is KLF and glucocorticoid receptor cooperate with each other to activate the immediate early transcription unit 1 promoter. So these are the following objectives which I am going to talk. First is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF15 and GR to stimulate this immediate early promoter. Second is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF15 and GR to stimulate the productive infection. And third is to determine the interaction of GR and KLF15 among each other and with the sequences in this immediate early promoter. So first, we are going to determine the cooperative effect of GR and KLF15 to stimulate this immediate early promoter. So this is the schematic representation of this immediate early promoter, where there is a presence of two glucocorticoid response elements present inside. So we transfected neuro to a cell with the plasmid expressing GR, plasmid expressing KLF15 and this immediate early promoter. 24 hours later, we treated the cells with DEX, and then later 24 hours, we collected the sample and did dual luciferase assay. We consistently found that the combination of GR and KLF15 in the presence of dexamethasone transactivated this immediate early promoter to over 40-fold. This is significantly high if we compare to that of just GR or KLF15. So next, we wanted to confirm whether this transactivation, the cooperative effect, is it via glucocorticoid response elements or not. So to confirm this thing, we did point mutation in these two glucocorticoid response elements, and then we did luciferase assay. As we know, in the wild type, we can find over 40-fold. If we disrupt the first glucocorticoid response elements, the transactivation from over 40-fold, it came down to just 9-fold. Next, if we just keep the glucocorticoid response element and if we just remove the KLF binding site, the transactivation was to that of 30-fold. And if we remove the KLF binding site and the glucocorticoid response element, the transactivation was similar to that of if we just remove first glucocorticoid response elements. And if we remove both the glucocorticoid response elements and KLF binding site, the transactivation was to that of basal level. So this shows that the glucocorticoid response elements were playing a major role in transactivation of this immediate early promoter. So next, we wanted to determine the cooperative effect of KLF15 and GR to stimulate the productive infection. So to do this, we did beta-gal assay. So in this, we transfected neuro to a cell with a plasmid expressing GR, plasmid expressing KLF15, and GC blue DNA. So this GC blue DNA we take from GC blue virus, which is a mutant type of virus, which expresses a LEGZ gene. So the only difference is that it can grow to the similar titer to that of wild type. But because of this LEGZ gene, once we stain the cell, as we can see on the picture on the right hand side, the cells become blue color. So after transfection, we fix the cell and we stained with the solution containing blue gall, and then we calculated the number of beta-galactoside and calculated the fold activity. So we saw that the combination of GR and KLF15 in the presence of dexamethasone, the fold activity was over 7-fold, which was very high if we compare to that of GR treated with dexamethasone. In fact, the combination of GR and KLF15 without treatment of dexamethasone, the fold activity was over 4-fold, which was also higher if we compare to that of just GR alone or KLF15 alone. So next, we wanted to determine the interaction of GR and KLF15 among each other and with the sequences with the immediate early promoter. So to test the interaction of GR and KLF15 among each other, we did co-IP study. We consistently saw that if we immunoprecipitate with GR, whether you treat with Dex or without Dex, we were able to detect KLF15. But with regards of KLF15, if you immunoprecipitate with KLF15, we were not able to detect GR until and unless it was overexpressed. So next, to determine the interaction of GR and KLF15 with the sequences in the immediate early promoter, we did chip assay. So in this chip assay, what we do is that after transfection of the cell, 48 hours later, we do cross-linking with the solution containing paraformaldehyde. So what happens is that the interaction of protein and DNA, that is freezed, and then we lyse the cell and harvest the chromatin. After harvesting the chromatin, we subject to sonication and we do immunoprecipitation using specific antibody. Like in this case, we are going to use GR antibody and KLF15 antibody. So as we immunoprecipitate, the complex between protein and DNA, that is also immunoprecipitated. And after immunoprecipitation, we reverse crosslink to release the DNA. So this DNA which is released, we do purification and then we detect via PCR. So this is the result of the chip assay, what we did. So in this, we can see the lane 1 is a mock control where we did not transfect any cell. It was used as a negative control. We used different combination, that is promoter transfected with GR plus KLF15 treated with Dex and without Dex. So when we do chip assay with the glucocorticoid receptor, we consistently were able to detect the GR interacting with the promoter. Same with that of KLF15, we were consistently able to detect KLF15 interacting with this immediate early promoter. In contrast to GR and KLF15, in isotype we were not able to find any band because this was used as a negative control, and isotype is a non-specific antibody. Input, we can see the band. Input are those samples where we do not immunoprecipitate using any antibody. We just transfect the cell and then harvest the DNA and do PCR. So next, we wanted to check whether the same interaction is it there with the mutant. So we selected the mutant where both the GREs and KLF binding sites were removed. We selected this mutant because the transactivation was to that of basal level. So in contrast to that of wild type, we were not able to detect GR binding with the mutant. Also with KLF15, we were not able to detect KLF15 binding to the mutant. Isotype was used as a negative control and input was a positive control. So in summary, the two stress-inducible transcription factor, that is GR and KLF15, cooperate with each other to stimulate the productive infection and to transactivate this immediate early promoter. In response to stress, the GR and KLF15 forms a feed-forward loop, meaning the GR stimulates the expression of KLF15, and then afterwards, GR and KLF15 stimulates the controls the expression of the promoter, giving rise to certain genes. So now I am going to shift to another promoter, that is the early promoter. This early promoter gives rise to BICP0 protein. So for this, the hypothesis is KLF family members and GR cooperate with each other to stimulate this early promoter. So these are the following objectives which I am going to talk. First is to determine the cooperative effect of different KLF family members and GR to stimulate the early promoter. Second is to identify the sequences which are important for GR and KLF15 to transactivate this early promoter. Third is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF4 and GR to stimulate the productive infection. Fourth will be to determine the interaction of GR, KLF4 and KLF15 with the bovine viral regulatory promoter. And the last will be, I will be talking about hypothetical model by which the GR and KLF4 may be transactivating this early promoter. So first we are going to see the cooperative effect of KLF family members and GR to stimulate the early promoter. So this is the early promoter which I am going to talk about. This early promoter gives rise to only one protein, that is BICP0 protein. This BICP0 protein is very important because this protein can activate all the viral regulatory promoters. Also, it has been found that the BICP0 protein can be detected early as compared to that of BICP4 protein via RT-PCR or immunohistochemistry. And thus, this early promoter itself alone, it can help in maintaining the high levels of this BICP0 protein. So we transfected the neuro-2SL with the early promoter, with the GR and different KLF family members. We found that the combination of GR and KLF4 was able to transactivate the early promoter to over 30-fold, which is significantly high if we compare to that of other KLF family members. Also, I would like to note a point that this KLF family members is very important. Like GR, KLF4 family member, KLF4 alone is a pioneer transcription factor. It is having capacity to go and bind to a silent chromatin. It is also known that it can reprogram the fate of the cell. Like for example, the fibroblast, it can convert into pluripotent stem cell. So in the context of reactivation of virus, this KLF4 may play a very important role in reactivation of virus. So next is GR, when we transfect GR plus KLF4, the combination, the early promoter was transactivated to that of 16-fold. And the other rest KLF family member like KLF6, KLF9 and PLZF, there was no significant transactivation. The important point which over here is after the treatment of DEX, the transactivation reduced. Like if we compare to that of immediate early promoter, which I showed in the part 1, the dexamethasone actually increased the transactivation. Here it reduced. So you can see the picture on the right hand side, there is a ligand mediated activation and ligand independent activation. What happens is during ligand mediated activation, the glucocorticoid receptor is present inside the cytoplasm and the corticosteroid binds to the glucocorticoid receptor, activates the glucocorticoid receptor, and then this glucocorticoid receptor is translocated inside the nucleus and binding to the specific sequence. Whereas in case of ligand independent mechanism, there is some unknown protein which binds to the GR, and then this GR with the unknown protein is translocated inside the nucleus. So maybe KLF4 is playing a role of this unknown protein in activating this glucocorticoid receptor. In the studies of glucocorticoid receptor activation, mouse memory tumor MMTB-LTR is used as a gold standard. It is known that whenever there is a presence of GR and dexamethasone, the mouse memory tumor promoter is always activated. So over here we can see that in the presence of GR and dexamethasone, this MMTB promoter was activated to that of 25-fold, which is very high. And this is a classic example of ligand mediated activation. Whereas in case of early promoter, it is ligand independent activation. Also, if we compare the mouse memory tumor, the combination of GR and KLF4, there was no transactivation. Whereas in case of early promoter, the transactivation was to that of over 30-fold. So this shows that this early promoter is very unique. First of all, this is ligand independent activation. Secondly, the combination of GR and KLF4 transactivates this promoter. Next, we wanted to identify the sequence which is important for GR plus KLF4 and GR plus KLF15 mediated transactivation. So this is the schematic representation of this early promoter. We did deletion construct giving rise to EP638 to 71. This EP943 is a wild type, that is a full length early promoter. So we found that the combination of GR and KLF4 was able to transactivate the wild type to over 30-fold. If we come down to the next deletion construct, the transactivation was reduced from over 30-fold to that of 18-fold, which was significant difference with that of wild type. Also, as we go down to the next reduction, the transactivation with GR and KLF4 was to that of around 14-fold. And as we go down later from 172, the transactivation was to that of basal level. All these constructs showed after addition of dexamethasone, the transactivation reduced significantly. With that of GR plus KLF15 mediated transactivation, the wild type was around 16-fold. If we go to the next deletion, the EP638 was to that of around 12-fold. And EP328, the transactivation with GR plus KLF15 was to that of 9-fold. So next, we wanted to see whether there are different enhancer domain inside the early promoter, whether there is a cooperative effect in transactivation of this GR plus KLF4 mediated transactivation. So we did deletion construct where we deleted certain segments like from 172 to 328, 328 to 638 and entire 172 to 638. So as we can see with that of wild type, the transactivation with GR plus KLF4 was over 30-fold. If we delete 172 to 328, the transactivation reduced from over 30-fold to that of just 14-fold. So this shows that 172 to 328 was also very important. Also, if we delete the sequences between 328 to 638, the transactivation was just over 4-fold. This also shows that the region between 328 to 638, that is also important. Also, as expected, 172 to 638, the transactivation was reduced. So we can see over here that the different regions in this early promoter plays a cooperative role in transactivating this early promoter. So next is half glucocorticoid response elements. So as I've shown in the picture earlier, that glucocorticoid receptor, instead of having a homodimer, a single monomer can go and bind to a half glucocorticoid response element, where this ACA or TGT, these are the core elements, where the single monomer of glucocorticoid receptor can go and bound. We found that the region between 638 to 943, there are two half glucocorticoid response elements having the core element ACA. So we wanted to check whether this half glucocorticoid response element, whether they are important or not to transactivate this promoter. So we did point mutation and we found that irrespective of whether if you delete first half glucocorticoid response element or both the glucocorticoid response element, the transactivation was similar to that of wild type. So here it shows that the half GREs, that the half glucocorticoid response element, they were not helpful in transactivation of this early promoter. Next, we wanted to see the cooperative effect of KLF4 and GR to stimulate the productive infection. So for this, we did beta-gal assay, the same study what I had shown earlier with GR and KLF15. I repeated over here with GR and KLF4. So we found that a combination of GR and KLF4, we got over 6-fold activity, which was significantly high if we compare to that of GR plus dexamethasone. Also, the combination of GR plus KLF4 without treatment of dexamethasone, the fold activity was over 4-fold, which is also significantly high if we compare with that of just GR or KLF4 alone. So here also it shows there is a combinatorial effect of GR and KLF4. So next we wanted to determine the interaction of GR, KLF4 and KLF15 with the viral regulatory promoters. So for this we did CHIP assay. We transfected Neuro2 cell with the early promoter with the glucocorticoid receptor KLF4, KLF15 treated with DEX and without DEX. In case of lane 7, that was used as a mock control where we did not transfect any cell, it was used as a negative control. So we consistently found GR interacting with the early promoter, whether you treat with DEX or without DEX. Also with that of KLF4, we found KLF4 interacting with that of early promoter. Similar to GR and KLF4, we found KLF15 also interacting with that of early promoter. With that of isotype, we were not able to find any band. Isotype was used as a negative control, and input, it was used as a positive control, that's why we can find band. Next, we wanted to see whether this interaction, what we did in transfection, is it possible during productive infection? So we infected the crypt cells to find whether there is an interaction of GR, KLF4 or KLF15. So after infection, we collected the cells at different time zones, that is 4 hours, 8 hours, 16 hours, treated with DEX or without DEX. So we found that the GR was able to occupy the early promoter very late, that is 16 hours, and the occupancy of GR increased in the presence of dexamethasone. In case of KLF4, we did not find any KLF4 occupying the early promoter. With that of KLF15, we found KLF15 occupying this early promoter very late, that is 16 hours, and the occupancy was increased in the presence of dexamethasone. Input was used as a negative control, and isotype was used as a negative control, and input, as you can see, as the time is increasing, the band intensity is increasing. That is because of viral DNA replication. Similar thing, we wanted to see the occupancy of GR, KLF4 and KLF15 in the immediate early promoter. This is the separate promoter. So we found, in contrast to that of early promoter, in immediate early promoter, the GR was able to occupy this promoter very early, that is 4 hours. In case of KLF4, we were able to find KLF4 occupying this immediate early promoter at 16 hours, and the occupancy increased in the presence of dexamethasone. This is very different if we compare to that of early promoter. We did not find KLF4 occupying the early promoter. KLF15 was similar to that of GR, occupying very early, that is 4 hours. Isotype was used as a negative control, and input, you can see, as the time is increasing, because of the viral DNA replication, the input intensity is also increasing. So we came to, with this all result, we came to one hypothetical model that this summarizes. First is mouse memory tumor. We have seen that this mouse memory tumor is activated via glucocorticoid response elements. But in case of early promoter, we have seen that the half glucocorticoid response elements are not important. Also, I want to note a fact that in early promoter, there is no whole glucocorticoid response elements. Only these half GREs are present. So with this, there may be two possibilities, that the GR and KLF4 are interacting, and the KLF4 itself is interacting with the early promoter, or the GR and KLF4, they are interacting together with some other protein, that is W, and this W is taking these two proteins towards the DNA. So we tested this hypothesis. We found several KLF4 and SP1 binding sites. So we can see the blue color dots and the black color triangle, that is a KLF4 and SP1, which are scattered across from 172 to 943. So we did like separate region. So in the context of this seminar, I'm just going to talk about from 172 to 328. It is known that certain KLF family member can also bind to SP1 binding site. So because of that, we pointed both KLF4 and SP1 binding site. So in order to confirm whether this KLF4 and SP1 binding site, are they playing a role in transactivation of this promoter, we did point mutation. So in case of wild type, the transactivation of this 328 region was around 15-fold with GR plus KLF4. If we delete the KLF4 binding site, the transactivation from 15-fold, it reduced to around 6-fold. So we can see the KLF4 binding site was playing a role. Also, with that of SP1 binding site, if we delete, the transactivation was around 5-fold. And if we delete both KLF4 and SP1 binding site, the transactivation was around 6-fold. Also, we have to note a fact over here that KLF4 and SP1 binding site were synergistically acting together. Like, for example, if you remove KLF4, the result was as similar that of like if you remove both KLF4 and SP1 binding sites. So we can see that also we can see that the transactivation was not reduced to the basal level. So this shows that apart from this KLF and KLF4 and SP1 binding site, there may be other regions where the KLF4 or GR is interacting. So to test this, we did chip assay. We found that in case of wild type, KLF4 was able to interact with the promoter, whether you treat like with DEX or without DEX. But in case of mutant, which is lacking KLF binding site and SP1 binding site, the band intensity, if you can see over here, is reduced. So thus it is showing that this KLF4 and SP1 binding site were playing a role, but apart from this binding site, there can be other region where the KLF4 is also binding. Similar effect we saw with that of GR. In wild type, we can see the strong band. With that of mutant, the binding intensity reduced. So this same result we found in other segment, like for example 638 to 943 as well. So this was consistent with different enhancer domains. So in summary, GR plus KLF4 cooperate to transactivate the early promoter to stimulate the productive infection. GR plus KLF15 also transactivated this early promoter. And over here, we saw that the GR transactivated this early promoter via ligand independent activation. So, as I've shown here during the introduction, glucocorticoid receptor belongs to a family called as type 1 nuclear hormone receptor. And there are other family members, that is a progesterone receptor and androgen receptor. These are also able to bind to the same glucocorticoid response elements. So we wanted to test whether the other other type 1 nuclear hormone receptor can cooperate with KLF family member in transactivating this early promoter. So for this, we tested androgen receptor and progesterone receptor. I'm just going to briefly summarize about androgen receptor. So these are the following objectives which I'm going to speak. First is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF family member and androgen receptor to stimulate the early promoter activity. Second is to identify the sequences which is important for AR plus KLF4 mediated transactivation of this early promoter. Third is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF4 and GR to stimulate the productive infection. So first we are going to see the cooperative effect of KLF4 and AR in transactivating this early promoter. So for this, we transfected neuro 2A cell with the early promoter, androgen receptor, and several different KLF family members. We found that the combination of AR plus KLF4 transactivated this early promoter to over 30-fold, which was very significantly high if we compare to that of other KLF family members. Also over here, by adding the ligand, over here it is dihydroxytestosterone, the transactivation reduced. With that of KLF15, whether you treat with ligand or without ligand, the transactivation was around similar to that of like 14-fold. And rest other KLF family member, there was no significant transactivation. So next we wanted to determine the sequences which are important for AR plus KLF4 mediated transactivation. We used the same deletion construct which I have shown before in the GR study, and we found that the combination, in case of wild type, the combination of AR plus KLF4 transactivated the early promoter to over 30-fold. As we go down to the next deletion, the transactivation from over 35-fold, it reduced to that of 21-fold. And as we are moving ahead to that of EP328, the transactivation reduced to that of 12-fold. And as we go ahead from 172, the transactivation was around basal level. Also, all the construct showed that after adding ligand, the transactivation reduced, showing that here also in case of androgen receptor, it is ligand independent transactivation. Next, we wanted to determine the cooperative effect of AR and KLF4 to stimulate the productive infection. So for this, we did beta-gal-AC study. We found that the combination of AR and KLF4 gave us around like 6-fold increase, which was significantly high if we compare to that of just AR or just KLF4. Also, the combination of AR plus KLF4 without treatment of ligand gave around like 3-fold, which was also higher if we compare to that of just AR and KLF4. So in summary, AR plus KLF4 transactivated this early promoter and stimulated the productive infection. And over here also, the AR plus KLF4 transactivated via ligand independent mechanism. So next I'm going to talk about progesterone receptor to check whether KLF family member and progesterone receptor, whether they can cooperate with each other to transactivate the early promoter. So for this, these are the following objectives. First is to determine the cooperative effect of KLF family member and progesterone receptor to stimulate the early promoter. Second is to identify the sequences which are important for progesterone receptor plus KLF4 mediated transactivation. And the third is to determine the cooperative effect for the productive infection of progesterone receptor and KLF4. So to determine the cooperative effect of different KLF family members and progesterone receptor, we transfected neuro 2A cell with the early promoter, progesterone receptor, and different KLF family members. So as we can see in the picture, progesterone receptor and KLF4, the combination transactivated the early promoter to over 16-fold. And after addition of the ligand, that is progesterone, the transactivation reduced over here to that of 6-fold. This is also very consistent with the result that of like glucocorticoid receptor or androgen receptor. The only difference we saw is that the transactivation levels was different. In case of GR, it was 30-fold. In case of androgen receptor, it was 35-fold. But in case of progesterone receptor, it is just around 16-fold. With that of other KLF family members, the transactivation was not significant. Next, we wanted to determine the sequences which are important for PR plus KLF4 mediated transactivation of early promoter. So we used the same deletion construct of the early promoter, and we found in the wild type, the combination of progesterone receptor and KLF4 transactivated to that of 16-fold. As we move down to the next deletion, the transactivation reduced over here to that of 11-fold. And as we go ahead with EP328, the transactivation further reduced to that of 9-fold. We can see the similar trend with that of androgen receptor, progesterone receptor, and glucocorticoid receptor. And as we go ahead with 172, the transactivation was that of basal level. Also, addition of ligand, the transactivation reduced significantly. So lastly, we wanted to determine the cooperative effect of progesterone receptor and KLF4 in stimulating the productive infection. So for this, we did beta-galactose study. We found that the combination of progesterone receptor and KLF4 give fold activity to over 30-fold, which is significantly high if we compare to that of progesterone receptor treated with progesterone. Also, without ligand, the progesterone receptor and KLF4 combination gave around like 29-fold, which is also higher if we compare to that of just progesterone receptor or KLF4 receptor, KLF4. So in summary, progesterone receptor and KLF4 cooperated to transactivate this early promoter. And like glucocorticoid receptor and androgen receptor, over here also the transactivation was via ligand independent transactivation. So in conclusion, type 1 nuclear hormone receptor, that is a androgen receptor, glucocorticoid receptor or progesterone receptor, directly stimulates the productive infection and key viral regulatory promoters. Glucocorticoid receptor cooperate with other stress-inducible transcription factor, especially KLF4 and KLF15. With that of androgen receptor and progesterone receptor, they also cooperated specifically with that of KLF4. So this will be part of the reason why animals which are in the field, whenever they are under stress, there is always reactivation of virus. Whenever the animals are transported from one area to another area, they are under stress because of lack of food, water, or sudden climatic changes. So this causes the animal to go under stress, and stress has consistently caused the reactivation of virus from latency. So apart from all this study, I'm just going to briefly show some additional study which I have done. So first is to see the effect of progesterone on reactivation of bovine herpes virus from latency in case of rabbit. So over here, the key finding, we have found that a progesterone was able to induce reactivation from latency, but the efficiency was less if we compare to that of dexamethasone. Also, progesterone induced reactivation more efficiently in case of male rabbits as compared to that of female rabbits. So the next study is to see the role of HCF in immediate early promoter. So over here we found that this immediate early promoter, the transactivation of via glucocorticoid receptor and dexamethasone was dependent on HCF. If you delete HCF, if you reduce the HCF, the transactivation of this immediate early promoter also reduces. Also, we have found that the HCF, to mediate the transactivation, HCF also binds to this glucocorticoid response elements. So thus we can say that in the absence of the viral promoter, that is a VP16, HCF-GR complex can also stimulate this immediate early promoter. So these are the following publications which I have done in my PhD. First is to see the effect of GR and KLF15, which was published in Journal of Virology in 2017. Me and my friend Foyed, we did equally, we contributed for this study. So next is about HCF, which I have shown just one slide before. We have published this study in Journal of Virology in 2018. The study of glucocorticoid receptor and KLF4, it was recently published in Journal of Virology in 2020. The role of progesterone in reactivation of virus from latency, this was also published recently in Virus Research in February 2020. So apart from this publication, there are these are the following publications which are in final stages. First is to see the effect of androgen receptor in early promoter. Second is to see the effect of progesterone receptor in that of early promoter. The third is to compare the difference by SP1 and KLF binding site in transactivation of this early promoter with different type 1 nuclear hormone receptors. So with that, I would like to give thanks to my advisor, Dr. Jones, advisory committee member, Dr. Omens, Dr. Bowerman, Dr. Jain, past lab members Insun, Foed, Jing, Lee Chen, and current lab members Kelly, Jeff, Prashant, Nishani, Vanessa. Also, I would like to give thanks to funding agency USDA, NIH, OSU. Also, I would like to mention special thanks to the VBSC seminar committee, Dr. Lavan, Dr. Brando, and Dr. Omens for having the career talks and also inviting the people in industry, because those tips which I have got, it really helped me a lot. Apart from this, I would like to give thanks to my wife, Rachel. Also, OSU Fellowship Group. We have been meeting since last 3 years at my place every Saturday. And this was a time where we, apart from research, we released our stress and we enjoyed the fellowship. And because of coronavirus, we were not able to meet. So we figured out like we can meet on Zoom. So this enabled other people who were part of this fellowship group who went outside the Oklahoma, like Texas, they were also able to join. So lastly, after my PhD, I am going to join Smithfields, where I have been selected for the vaccine scientist position. Thank you.
So at this time, the audience, if there are people listening, they can email me questions. So you might tell them that, and then if we get questions in the next 10 minutes, then Flaxman will, I'll tell you the question, you repeat it, and
Sure.
answer it, and then we'll take a break, and we can come back in here. We'll just come in here instead of wandering around. There's lots of social distancing. And so far, I don't have any, you might tell the audience if they have questions. Now's the time to do that.
Audience, if you are having questions, now you can send like either through the chat box or you can email to Dr. Jones.
Just email to me.
Okay, just email to Dr. Jones.
I don't know. Well, they can listen through Moodle, which is kind of the online thing through the vet school where they load lectures and things like that. So you can listen.
Would normally participate?
Yeah, normally they would be in here and ask questions, but students and other faculty, since all of this craziness, we're the only ones that can't hear. Let's see, any questions? Yeah. I know that people have been listening, or in previous defenses that have been listening.
Yeah, they have been listening. Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, it's recorded for whoever wants to look at it later. That's about all we can
Maybe while we are waiting for questions, ask one quick question.
Sure.
Give the time.
do. Yeah,
I mean, you try those, PR, AR, right?
Mhm.
GR. I think the GR is immediate, early promoter and product infection. Have you repeated some of the AR, PR work, immediate early promoter?
Yes.
The talk, you commented on those.
Mhm.
Primarily on early promoter, right?
Yes, yes. It's a very good question. So just for the audience, the question is asked, apart from glucocorticoid receptor, whether I tried androgen receptor and progesterone receptor to check the transactivation in the immediate early promoter. So with that of progesterone receptor, one of my colleague, that is Foed, he had already published, he had done the work in transactivation of the progesterone receptor and KLF15 in transactivation of this immediate early promoter. With that of androgen receptor, we are still working, and it's like it's in still progress, we can say. Yeah.
Pamela said, great job, and congratulations on the job.
Right.
You can
Thank
say.
you. All right. Thank you, Dr. Lavan.
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah, I think if you guys have questions, I thought there'd be a couple, but just to move this thing along. If you have questions now, it's a good time to.
Maybe I just throw another question. So again, in the second part of the talk, you talked about, GRAR, right? They cooperate with KLF4,
Mhm.
so 15 as well.
Yes.
To transactivate, the early promoter,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you say ligand independent mechanism. I mean, that transaction study, if you have ligand, in fact, it could suppress the promoter activity. So, however, in that, the different systems, so where you use the beta-galactidase as the core gene, and in that case, most of the time, when you add the ligand,
Mm-hmm. Why it was increased?
yeah, sometimes it looks like you saw the significant increase.
Yes.
So how you can, the address discrepancy among those two, between those two in the system.
Mhm. Good question. For the audience, the question is, with that of beta-galactosidase studies, which I have shown, with the addition of ligand, there was increase in the fold activity. But with that of like the luciferase assay studies, with that of just early promoter, with the addition of ligand, there was decrease. So the answer to that question is, in case of the beta-galactosidase studies, it is possible that the other viral regulatory promoter, they were also activated because we are just transfecting the DNA. But in case of the early promoter, we are just having early promoter. We are checking the effect of GR plus KLF4, like that. Yes, in case of beta-galactosidase, it's like the entire genome is, we are just transfecting the DNA. So other viral regulatory promoter may have been activated.
So are there other promoters that have GREs next to them in the virus?
Yes, like immediate early promoter, it is having 2 glucocorticoid response element. So that is playing a role in transactivation.
Also, and it was nothing to do with this project, but when we screen the genome, the virus has 2 origins of replication that allow the virus to replicate. Both of those origins of replication have perfect glucocorticoid receptor binding sites.